Hello friends, I am Dr. Rakesh Jain. Welcome to this knowledge on energy management. Energy is like the lifeblood for our bodies and development of our nation. Our body generates various types of energy including electricity and it is essential for our survival and growth. Similarly, energy is required everywhere, right from cooking in households to agriculture to fuel for transportation and finally for various industries, buildings like hotels or offices, etc. Our bodies generate energy from the food which we eat, and most of us know that what is good for our body. The energy used for our day to day life is equally important as we spend a lot of money on purchasing energy, and its use results in most pollution and other environmental problems which are being faced today by us. The main sources of energy include the conventional ones which are being used for hundreds of years. They are coal used for cooking and power generation, petroleum products made from crude oil to make petrol or motor spirit, diesel, furnace oil used in industries and nuclear power, etc. In view of harmful effects of these energy sources, whole world is now focusing on non-conventional sources of energy, which include solar power to generate electricity and for heating, wind energy to generate electricity in some areas where wind speed is very high, biomass obtained from plants and animals to generate electricity or gas, etc. More and more stress is being laid on solar power and hydrogen as fuel as they are environment friendly and do not cause any pollution more or less. The demand for energy is rising very fast as it is required for development of any nation. It is used in industries, transportation, agriculture, buildings, households, etc. for production of various goods, growing food items and for comfortable life. In addition to increasing energy generation, exploring more sources of energy and optimizing energy use are becoming important. It is estimated that 10 to 20% of energy, whether in households or in industries, can be saved by its right use. Okay. Now conserving energy means saving energy without affecting quality of work. Thus, if a room has 4 lights and those sitting in the room can easily manage with 2 lights, it is conservation if they make 2 lights off. But if only one light is on and people sitting there face difficulty due to less lighting, then it is saving and not conservation. Thus, optimizing energy use without compromising on quality is called energy conservation. It matches with the worldwide concept of fasting by humans as it saves lot of food and increases efficiency of our bodies. Conserving energy is also essential to remain competitive whether in industry or otherwise including buildings and even households. It helps to reduce costs and improve health and environmental benefits. Engineers from various disciplines, including mechanical, electrical, and chemical streams, handle energy conservation issues to optimize production and maintenance costs, reduce pollution, improve environment, and improve health of all, including general public. Energy conservation has long been solely engineers' area, but experience based on my over 5 years of hands-on energy audit convince me that management knowledge is equally important for energy conservation. While engineering education provides technical knowledge, managing energy use optimizing requires overview of energy scenario, communication and feedback skills, teamwork, etc. And hence energy management is an important skill required of engineers. 2. This can be best learned through real life case studies told in storytelling styles so that one does not forget it in real life situations. This ensures focus on energy conservation in our day to day life, professional life, as well as personal life. While the engineers are taught engineering knowledge, the knowledge of energy conservation is not told in their education in the way it is required. Most of the teachers who teach them do not have sufficient industry experience, and even if they have some, the hands on energy auditing experience is very rare to find among them. Now, I tell why are now uh, why are we now talking about energy management? The gaps I found in real industry situations is well known to me because I joined an energy audit organizations called PCRA after working in two oil refineries of Indian Oil Corporation, which are complex process or chemical industries. They are energy intensive industries as they utilize lot of energy. They provided excellent opportunity to understand various issues related to energy conservation and management, as they use various types and large number of equipments and machines related to electrical, mechanical and chemical engineering. Deep understanding of engineering and conservation related issues became very handy for me. When we save energy, it results in less pollution and better health also. While working in oil refineries, I learned about effluent treatment plants with zero discharge target, heavy emissions from their stacks and or chimneys, what we call, besides waste disposal, groundwater and soil contamination, and resulting pollution due to various processes and resulting controls by the governments, state governments as well as federal or central government. The 5 year hands on energy audit experience, many of them as team leaders, and related training in entire northern India helped me to understand these issues in totality. The compliance to government norms as well as ISO certification for quality, environment, occupational health, and energy management provided very good exposure to latest international developments in the field. My quest on how to make energy conservation a part of life of everyone has continued even after I returned back to Indian Oil and then finally retired to teach engineers and workmen in industries and engineering and MBA students. My analysis has convinced me that even the best engineering education is grossly inadequate to achieve and keep pace with the rising energy costs, growing environmental concerns among public and media, besides emerging perfection in energy conservation even in organized sector. Further, mostly multidisciplinary groups with majority of non-engineers is required to run the organizations. They are accounts people, they are from human resource department. So many people from different disciplines are there. Even engineers have to ignore energy saving due to other pressures like production targets and all that. They also need training skills to implement and also to take workmen along with them for energy conservation. And in unorganized sector, too, energy conservation needs involvement of general public from agriculture, households, and transportation. So, in both the sectors, energy conservation is essential. All countries have different fuel and energy resources and levels of growth. Some can depend more on solar energy while some have lot of fossil fuels like coal and crude oil reserves. For example, India has to import 3/4 of crude oil. Her coal has high ash and both of them would not last for long. Growing environmental concerns including greenhouse gas emissions, rising sea levels, ozone hole and acid rain etc. and limited availability of fossil fuels are pushing the society towards clean energy like solar energy and hydrogen etc. Further, the developed nations work on level 1 technology, but the developing nations still use level 2 or level 3 technology, which are much less efficient. The whole energy conservation scenario is thus very dynamic and needs to be handled very carefully and also very urgently. To make everybody aware about the urgency of energy conservation, I am shortly uploading a course on udemy.com to make everybody, including professionals from engineering, management, accounts, agriculture, backgrounds, etc., as well as all others like those from arts, commerce, economics, etc. backgrounds, so that they can easily understand and take care of energy conservation. I have included many true case studies for industries, agriculture, transportation, and households, which are told in a storytelling style for easy grasping and remembering for a whole life. What I have found is people know, but sometimes due to certain pressures, they forget about energy conservation. It saves money spent on purchasing energy like electricity, fuel for vehicles, etc., and also helps to lead a better, healthy life. Now, I share few issues in short stories based on my 39 years of experience. It is found that in most households, refrigerators store 20 to 30% material which can be kept in an almirah. So unnecessarily it is being refrigerated and every refrigerator will consume energy, that is electricity, to run it. So it is a wastage of energy. Similarly, 20 to 30% lights in homes and offices or hotels or whatever buildings are there, they are kept on when they are not required. They can easily be made off, but it is not being done. Awareness on right use of cooking gas is also very poor. For engineers, I tell here an experience on how we can miss energy conservation opportunities. So this is a case study. This is my own experience. It is, and I am just sharing it with you. It was a very tough decision to take up energy audit of a complex chemical plant for the first time by any Indian team. A team of Indians having Indian engineers only. Anyhow, I decided to go ahead after keeping aside my fear of not finding any opportunity for conservation of energy. It was a pleasant morning when, after 2 weeks of hard work, very happy on finding potential for saving over 500 kilowatt of energy electricity, we went to the power plant head to check what monetary savings will be achieved. That is, how much money will be achieved if we consume 500 kilowatt less, so that in the captive power plant of that industry, there will be less requirement, and so demand on the powerhouse captive power plant, that is, will reduce by 500 kilowatt. But I was shocked to learn from the power plant in charge that all our efforts were a waste, as no money would actually be saved. I was frustrated, and after this I discussed our failure with another ex-boss who was there in that plant. This man gave us a pleasant surprise by telling that our hard work would save rupees 60 lakhs per year. That is $6 million on the year 1999 prices. 60 million rupees were being saved in the year 1999. So you can imagine how costly it would have been at this time. The discussion revealed that this happened because the power plant head, with over 25 years of experience in operating steam turbines in that plant, did not realize that recently installed gas turbines could save lot of natural gas fuel due to different characteristic curves. I'll slightly explain it here. Steam turbines is a machine where a boiler is used to generate steam. Then that steam is used to run a turbine, and that turbine is coupled with a generator which generates electricity. In gas turbine, it uses gas. Gas is burnt, and the resulting energy runs a turbine, and turbine in turn runs the generator, rotates the generator. So electricity is being generated in both the machines. But the first machine and the second machine have different characteristics. That is, if you find out how much energy is being generated by given quantity of fuel, it is different in both the cases. So since the characteristic curves are different in both the machines, the savings were not possible in steam turbines generator, but it was very much possible in gas turbine generators. So this particular thing could have been missed if I had not talked to my second ex-boss who told me about gas turbine generators characteristic curves. I always wonder what would have happened if I had not taken the risk of auditing such a complex plant and not taken the feedback from my second ex-boss. Needless to say, the huge fuel loss and environmental pollution would have continued, and my colleagues would have taunted me for taking a wrong initiative, and the resulting failure due to this, none would have dared to take up such a challenge again. So, a timely initiative, the feedback taken from the right person at the right time, resulted in realizing these energy conservation opportunities. It saved money, 60 lakh rupees in 1999, and naturally it is much more, maybe 4 to 5 times now after so many years, and also reduced pollution. It was also later found by the company that gas turbine generators needed less maintenance, and since the maintenance was less, it was finally decided to continue with gas turbine generators instead of steam turbine generators, and with this the company did lot of benefit for the environment. So I am Dr. Rakesh Jain. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel with the name Dr. Rakesh Jain PhD to know about more such issues that can make you and those around you happier and peaceful. Thanks. This is Dr. Rakesh Jain. Bye.